So, so how are you anyway? It must be, yeah, you must be pretty excited to head back to Oz. I can't remember the last year it was.
2015, I'm pretty sure. It was
Yeah, yeah.
we were there actually for quite a while because we were doing a support tour for Psychroptic for their new record that came out, their self-titled record.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
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 it was like it was March of 2015, I'm pretty sure. Actually,
yeah,
I made some notes, and yes, it was March of 2015. And actually the tour, because we played like a lot of places that usually, like when a band comes over, doesn't usually play, because we were with Psychroptic and we were able to play like little small places, like Geelong and Launceston and so some other place like that, like more like suburbs and
yeah,
areas, which
yeah. That's like there was some
which
regional dates I remember. Yeah, so that's
yeah, and so it was we were there probably about 2 weeks, even though like there's not really shows on like Monday, Tuesday, when like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but usually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there's shows. So
yeah, it's
so in between we would just be at we'd be at a hostel or something and we'd go see something. We'd go to like, I don't know, the zoo or go see the koalas
yeah, yeah,
or,
yeah. The typical
something like
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
That band is actually I gotten some tattoo work done when I was out there that time too. So that was unique. I
Oh,
never
awesome. Yeah.
so I have one piece of tattoo work that's from the Southern Hemisphere, basically.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah, you got to tick that off. That's the memory. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's a bucket list thing right there,
bucket
man.
list. That's a word. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're like really psyched to have you back, and yeah, particularly the I Hate God. Like that's a great tour. I know
Yeah,
there.
yeah. No, I think I'm stoked for it. We've been actually through like last year we had done a few runs with I Hate God in the States. Like we did one in the earlier part of last year in on like the East Coast, and then in the later part of last year we did one like on the West Coast with them. And so
Nice.
we talked about doing other stuff, and the Australian thing came up, and we're even going to like do the UK and Ireland in December with them as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, we all know each other,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
fairly
yeah.
well, so it's kind of cool. But also, I feel like both bands they're both extreme within this style of music, but they both give something different to the people as well.
Yeah, no, no. I said that to some of my friends because some of my friends don't know your band that well, and I said, no, 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 they're not bringing along a little shitty support band from the States. These guys are big. I said you'll be really surprised. And some people they checked out some videos and live footage and they were like, wow. And I was like, yeah, no, no, it's pretty big, man. Like it's a good combo. Like it'll
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah. And
that could
it's kind of cool. It's that's a thing when you play in a band for this long and you still have people that don't know about the band. Even though too we've been to Australia numerous times. Like the first time we ever came was with Behemoth and Job for a Cowboy, and then the
yeah.
second time we came, it was with us, Impiety, and Ruins, which is also Dave from Psychroptics other
Yeah.
band as well. So, we've been there now 3 times, but there's still, people that aren't familiar with us. And it's not anything like I'm not perplexed about or anything because
No,
there's
no,
so
no,
many
no.
bands out there to keep up with things. There's so much stuff constantly coming out, no matter what. It's hard to keep going with stuff. And you'll discover a band that's been around for 20 or so years, and you're like, why have I never come across
Yeah.
this stuff? What's the deal? And it's just one of those things. There's just a lot going on.
Especially
It's a small world, but it is a big world too.
I
So
I know, and on that point, it's when you discover a band and then you get on Discogs and you're just like, oh shit, they're split up or whatever, or they only did like, one album or a couple of EPs, but that's like you said, that's how it works. Small world, big world. It's so you must be pretty excited because that last album was killer. I love that, that was a
thanks.
sensational,
Yeah.
overwhelming kind of album. So
Yeah, there was
um
a lot put in it too. It was all done during that like pandemic period too, like when we were writing stuff, and there was stuff prior to that, but then like when that happened, that's when we really delved deeper into that record. So there's a lot of that kind of aspect to it as well.
because the sounds certainly changed a lot since the beginning, because you've been, I think you now it must be at least like 25 years you've been around, and definitely some big changes from those first albums, wasn't it? You know, like it's
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is next year will be the 25th anniversary of our first release, The Eclipse of Ages Into Black.
wow.
So, and like the first two records are kind of like more hard to obtain in a sense. Well, not now, especially with like, the internet and everything and streaming platforms. But the first two records for a long time weren't easily attained because they were just through a small label in the US called Rotten Records. Not necessarily small, they put out a lot of things in the past, like they were the first label that put out like the DRI stuff and things like that.
Oh,
And then Acid
wow.
Bath was put out on that. Damaged, a bunch of different bands were put out on there. So, but there's still like an independent, low kind of
Yeah,
label.
yeah, yeah.
So it was hard for those releases to actually leave outside of like North America, in a sense. So, but yeah, we're coming to the 25th anniversary of that, and definitely through the years, we've done a lot of different things. Nothing drastic or
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, and we've always kept to the roots of everything. I mean, the roots of the band, it was basically stemmed, from the ideas of like Celtic Frost and things like that. But it's definitely a mixture of like old black metal, old death metal, newer black metal, newer death metal, and then just the culmination of what GOATWHORE evolved into as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely I think even on some of the albums, there's definitely a lot of punk and hardcore stuff on it as well. You know, it's it's
Yeah. I mean, we've
it's
had a
not
lot
pinned
of like,
down, you know.
yeah, we've had a lot of elements of that. Like in the past, it wasn't so much. Like I think it came out a little bit later on, but we definitely. It was always hard to like when people asked us to put ourselves in a genre, and we're like,
Yeah,
well, we
yeah.
have these elements, but we're not strictly this one thing, you know. And I think a lot of people just stick us in the black metal category because of like the satanic imagery per se, and
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
lyrical content and stuff like that. But there is a lot of musically that goes like in all kinds of different directions, from like death metal, black metal to like hardcore punk, D beat type stuff. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of
exactly.
mixture there, and that's a lot of our roots, just all of us in general growing up. So we just kept those things in place. So that's what I think like a lot of what we offer is a little different, and maybe sometimes you can't put your finger directly on it fully.
I mean, I think that's the beauty of, the area the band's from, and just that, the NOLA is it's so wide, and a mix of everything. It's not,
Yeah,
even when you look at who you're coming out with, I Hate God, you can't really pin them down. There's so many broad
yeah, and also
influences.
actually coming from that scene too, like the New Orleans scene. We were doing something a little bit odder than, I mean, to that scene,
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
little bit odder than what was going on, because the scene, with I God, with Crowbar, with Soilent Green, with Acid Bath, with all the other bands from there, GOATWHORE was definitely like this little thing, but I think it was this construct of that were into like earlier forms of like black metal and things like that, and getting together and then, you know, creating this idea of what GOATWHORE is now.
Yeah, it's a kind of a point of difference. Um, I meant to ask you, I seen recently SG have done some reunion shows. How did that go? I seen it.
Oh, that was good. It was good, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look,
it's not nothing that was like planned over time. It was just kind of sporadic thing, and pieces fell into place. Basically, it's like because that band was a hard machine to kind of make the cogs work properly. And then like Tommy also plays in Crowbar.
yeah,
Brian's like a full-time dad. Scott's got like his personal life, but we managed to work things out and do like a few shows. It's not going to like turn into this like touring thing or anything like that, but it's fun to do. And we're going to do like a New Orleans show in July, which is cool, like a hometown show. So,
yeah.
but
That's
mostly, I mean, too, like Tommy's always busy with Crowbar, and then like I always have things going on with GOATWHORE. It's just
yeah,
hard to kind of like make things fall into place, but it fell into place slightly. So,
yeah. You gotta kind of grab those opportunities. You know what I mean? So when those windows are open. But yeah, the footage was great. Like I'm a fan of SG, and it's also like that legacy, like you said earlier, of the acid bath thing as well. I think classic bands that a lot of people don't know about, but all completely different to what they're all different parts of the
Yeah, yeah. No, it's crazy too. Like we're saying, like how people don't know, but also it's like the means to like find things now are so easy.
Oh,
You know, like when I was younger, you know, the whole deal of like tape trading through the mail and things like that. And then as you go, I got older, and then you know the onset of like the internet, and then you would find things. Now it's like when I go on tours, if there's a band somewhere that I'm unfamiliar with, I kind of like look it up and I go, oh well, let me go check this out. I don't really know what's going on, but I want to be familiar with it once I
yeah.
go see it. You know, so I like the access to be able to go find things like that. But when people say that, they're like, well, I don't know about this band. Well, as soon as you see a show posted, you can easily just go, oh, I'm gonna listen to like 4 minutes of a song and see what it's like, you know? I mean, I understand people's times are precious. Everybody's got a lot of stuff going on. Some of us have families, some of us have like crazy work schedules, so it's understandable. But and
Yeah.
like I said earlier, you know, there's so many bands. It's hard to keep track of anything. You know, like I have friends that say, "Have you heard this new thing?" I'm like, "No, I'm kind of I'm totally lost it right now. There's so much stuff right going on."
It's really hard to keep up, isn't it? Yeah. And
Yeah,
when you were saying about the tape trading, I even remember, you know, I'd go to a record store in the city and buy like a 7 inch or an album, and just from the cover, and I hadn't listened to it, and I had to wait till I got home to play it, or
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
old, look on the back, look at that T-shirt, and then you go and look it up, but there was there was no
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
you know,
No,
like
we
that's
were discussing, actually, we were discussing that a couple of weeks ago, how we would go to this record store in the New Orleans area, and we would look at the pictures of guys on the back and see what shirts they were wearing. And you're like, yeah, we're going to try this. I don't know what it sounds like, but whatever, we're going to try it. And that's what you did. Usually, like, there was like a few of us, and each person bought something, and then we all went home and we kind of shared it, you know?
yeah,
And we were like, okay, well, I'm going to buy this and this and this. And sometimes you had stuff that no one was really pleased with, but
yeah, yeah. You get
well,
some.
that was the risk. But the excitement, like you said, it was
Oh
like
man,
to get home to listen to the exciting thing, and then you put it on, you're listening to it, and it was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. You know,
yeah. It's good
you
to
know,
yeah.
like people, I don't. I kind of feel bad for the younger people now because they don't have that thing, but they have their own thing now, the thing that makes them like joyous about it or
Exactly.
whatever,
Yeah.
you know. But it was definitely a thing, you know. It was a whole chemistry to it, and it went on every week throughout your youthful life up until like you were 25 or something, or even beyond that, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
100%. So, um, so you're what kind of drives you? Because you're a very energetic performer. I mean, the whole band is, like it's tight knit and it's energetic. So what kind of motivates you? Because you're very into it. You know what I mean? Like some people, it's like they don't give off any energy or whatever. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys,
yeah.
the live show is just, it's in your
I mean,
face. It's great.
well, for one, I have to stay in shape. So, I mean, I don't like do some crazy workout stuff, but I keep in shape and I keep physically active with things. You know, I'll ride like a stationary bike, or even ride like I have a mountain bike too. I'll go ride and stuff like that. Now in Louisiana, we don't have mountains or anything, but you know, it's still good to get out on the bike every now and
Oh
then,
yeah,
especially
100%.
in the heat and everything there. So, you know, I do things like that, but also I feel like when I play with younger bands, I get this like energy of like I can't be mediocre. I've got it because they're bringing it and I have to bring it too.
Yeah,
So I have to give them props because they give me that incentive to push to that next level. Because I'm not going to go up there and be like, no offense to Ozzy, but be like Ozzy.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And just kind of like
yeah.
walking around like I need a cane or something. I'm gonna go after it. I'm gonna do what I have to do because there's a lot of great young talented bands out there.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
play with them constantly when I'm on the road, and it's like, yeah, that keeps you like it keeps you young. You
It
know, it's
does.
almost like
Yeah,
Judas Priest adding in Richie Faulkner. You know,
yeah.
it's like he gave that like young blood to him, and now they're like reignited. You
Oh,
know, and it's like a new level, and I have to give it to them. I mean, there's a lot of great young bands, and they do, and that's what pushes me probably the biggest percentage out of everything else. I mean, I love the music, I love playing, I love doing the live thing, and and also the fans, because when you do a show and it's like insane and you're like completely exhausted, at the end of the show, people's appreciation is another level of like what pushes you to keep moving forward as
Oh,
well.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, we play a lot of. I mean, we play bigger shows a bunch, but we play a lot of like small, kind of like close, intimate venues, where there's like no barricades. People are really close up to you.
Excellent.
And when you feel that appreciation, well, during live, it's definitely like it's a feed off of each other type thing.
Yeah.
But afterwards, the appreciation from people is like, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. Even though I was about to pass out, it was so fucking hot in this place, and I'm playing against these young bands that are running me over. But this too is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because these people appreciate what I was doing.
Yeah. Oh, that's I mean, that's the best motivation. It's going to push you all the time.
Yeah.
Um, I know you got a busy schedule. What I want to ask, what's coming up with you guys in terms of the next album? Is that on the horizon? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of like, so back in March, because we had a little time open in the beginning part of the year, and so we got together and we started throwing around ideas, going back over old material that we had put together, because we had some things put together that didn't get to the point of being finished for Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven, but we don't throw things away, so we kept it there, and then we just kind of go back and refiddle with it and try to lay it out. So we have a bunch of things that we've been kind of working on like that. So kind of getting the idea and the ball rolling for that. But most of the focus has been like really still pushing on this record.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's fairly new. It's a little over a year. I think in October is 2 years. So, I still feel like we got a lot of push in this record to kind of get through and get the point across to people with it. But in the meantime, between, we'll, work on new stuff as well.
Yeah, and I think obviously with the delay with COVID and all those things, I think there's kind of like that little delay anyway, like because there was so many releases that come out and stuff. So it's, I think
the thing is, like when we did it too, because we weren't in a rush to like, I was noticing bands putting stuff out during it, and it basically would come out, and then, dude, 2 weeks would happen, and then it would be nothing, because a lot of like this style of music depends on these bands touring. And if you can't get out there to tour, it's almost like you're putting something out to the people. And I know people were saying, well, I just want to give people music. And it's just like, yeah, but then like it gets forgotten about in a sense, and it doesn't get the push that it deserves.
exactly.
So a lot of bands had a lot of releases come out that were basically like overlooked in a sense,
Yeah,
because of what was going on. And so when we were doing it, it was kind of at that breaking point of when things started to get better and things were opening up and everything. Because when we were in the studio, there was like limitations on, so we lived in this house that was where the studio was. And then we go to the grocery store to get like supplies and stuff like that. And when you went there, you had to wear the mask, and all that kind of stuff still. So they still had that, but it was a little bit more lenient on some aspects. And then as it was kind of about like setting the schedule to come out, and I was kind of going, I don't know, let's delay it just a little bit. Let's delay it. And some people were like, well, let's just get it out. And it's like, well, wait, we want to start being able to get on the road and kind of push this thing as well. So there was a little internal like delay to kind of pull it back a little bit. So it didn't come out as soon as it probably should have, but for the better long-term thing, I was like,
oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's the time period. It was good when we did it, because where we record it was Studio in the Country, which is in kind of like northern Louisiana. It's an old studio, done a lot of like past huge records and stuff like that, and it's got a real like, when you go in there, you feel like it's like you went through a time machine and you walked into like the early 1970s.
Awesome.
But and there was like a little house on the property, and that's where we stayed. So we were kind of like in our own little, they call like bubble in a sense, and doing things there. And we spent a month there doing it. So it was good. So, we kind of took advantage of the time and what was going on and focused in on it. Now, what people might ask sometimes, like, well, did the pandemic influence like writing? Not necessarily, but maybe subconsciously, little things were kind of like leaked in there. But I don't think it was anything to do with the pandemic. It was already stuff that was still kind of like brewing internally and like getting ideas together. If anything, maybe the pandemic boosted it a little more to like make it happen and get things done, you know?
Yeah. That's I think it's too many records are slated as like pandemic records when, like you said, those ideas are sitting there, lyrics and riffs and everything and song structure sitting there. It doesn't kind of,
Yeah, I
and
mean, it's a shame because there was a lot of great records that came out. And I'm not saying that they weren't good records. They just, the way it works for like extreme music
yeah.
is different than like somebody like Taylor Swift putting some out during the pandemic, you know? It's like, it's a huge difference. It's like apples and oranges, you know what I'm
A
saying?
hundred,
So
yeah, big time.
it's, the approach is different. And I know people want to do music. That's what they do. They do, people like us, we do music. So we want to do it and get it out and everything. But it's at the same time, it's like, well, man, in like a year, you better have a whole nother one ready because it's not the way the system works it's just not good, you know? So
Yeah,
if anything, I wish that they would do a thing where, I mean, I know it's money and labels aren't into this, but they should go back and revisit some of those records and do like a whole release for it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
post-pandemic release or whatever. This came out, you motherfuckers were sleeping on it, and boom, this is what it was, you know?
yeah.
Then the band actually could create a solid tour around it and push it, even though it wasn't quote unquote older release, not really. It's sort
Yeah.
of new to a lot of people. So you put it out again in a sense, and then you do a whole whatever, US, North America, Australia, Europe, everything, and just cover the bases with it.
It's like a fresh record, isn't it? Really, like that's as you said, so
Yeah.
many releases kind of got missed and stuff. So it's not,
Yeah.
and you listen to
There's a
it.
lot of there's a lot of things I think within like the music industry, especially on the basis of extreme bands, that's a little different and can be done differently than like the norm of what needs to happen. And also a lot of things changed with aspects to that too through time. So you don't really need certain things. A lot of bands too are almost more powerful than the labels. Like they don't even need labels now, really.
Yeah, no, that's true.
They have the ability to do like a GoFundMe and they got enough fans where they get enough money to be able to do this and get their stuff out there. It's almost like what nothing against labels, but what are they really providing? Like even like a bigger band has more followers in social media than most major labels or
Yeah,
most big independent labels. So is it really a necessity anymore on that kind of level? Maybe for smaller bands, something to help kick and start them off again. And maybe labels have to kind of go in reverse and go back to what they used to be to help smaller bands grow into something than being this thing of just, I'm going to latch onto this band that's popular and we won't have to do as much work because this band has 2 million followers and we
yeah,
have 500,000 followers.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but the whole game has changed with all kinds of things like that, you know?
It
So,
has, yeah, yeah. That's a whole, that's a whole can of worms itself. The digital stuff and the records, and now that bands bands make more from merch. You know what I mean? That's that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah. It's
definitely
all
that's
getting like real crazy with all that stuff, especially like merch too. Like the prices of merch. Like I was looking at stuff lately and I was just like, wow, this is crazy, man. These prices.
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to sound like an older person, but at the same time, I'm like, it wasn't too long ago, like basically pre-pandemic, when these prices weren't that. We
Oh
had this
yeah,
thing happen, and this shit just jumped insanely. Like I feel like there's a glitch and it needs to reset itself and get back to where it really needs to be. Maybe it
yeah.
doesn't need to be a $15 tee, but it doesn't have to be a $50 tee. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, yeah.
It's like
I
I don't know like how much are like concert shirts in Australia.
it just depends, man. Like I play in bands as well, and there's no. I'm on that point. There's no reason. There's local bands that they want $40 for a local tee, and it's like, it's not. I get it if someone's coming overseas, they're bringing it over, or sometimes they get it printed local. But yeah, I'm not going to pay more than like $40 for it. A local band, no way. Like I'd probably pay 50 for a long sleeve or whatever. Or it's a band I really love, I'd buy a hoodie or whatever. But yeah, it's not. It There's something
Yeah,
amiss with
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah. Well, I think too, like nothing against like local bands or bands just starting up, but with all of this, all the printers got hired too. Like,
Yeah.
like I take care of a lot of like business orientated stuff with GOATWHORE, with like getting shirts made and stuff like that. And just the prices, I've seen the prices go up, and I'm like, this is insane. Just to get a shirt printed is like
Yeah.
really fucking crazy. So there was like a lot of elements everywhere that are doing that. So like bands that are just starting off, it's like, holy shit, the wall that they have to confront. And not just that, that some of the printers now, they're asking for like a minimum amount of like 150 shirts. You know,
Yeah.
you could used to do like, I don't know, maybe like 3 dozen or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can work it out. But now, like if you're a band starting up, putting out money for 150 shirts is quite a lot to
It
start
is.
off with, you know? And then like you get all these different sides, and you're stuck with all kinds of different stuff that
Oh
you know,
no, I know that feeling because the band I'm in, the guy he ordered like a heap of smalls, and like no one wants smalls except there was some like female friends that they wanted those particular sizes, but then there wasn't enough XLs, and then I had people from the States, have you got XXXL? And I was like, no. Nah. And then medium, there was like five, and I was like, it's hard to get that mix, man. It's just
Oh no, I know. I mean, we do, we make like when we tour in the US, we do small to like 5X.
Yeah.
So, and also like after you start going after like 2X, the price goes up. But
that's the thing.
But there's people that that are bigger that want the shirts. So
that's
I was like,
yeah.
I get a few of them made all the time.
That's it.
For
Yeah.
every design, I get them made. So when I'm on tour and we're moving for like a month, I know what I can move. When I have to do a weekend show, that's where I'm like, all right, shit, I don't know what kind of numbers I should do. Should I get this many or this many? And people are just like, just get this size, and they'll just have to buy it. I'm like, I don't want somebody going home and just putting the shirt in a motherfucking drawer and never having it on. It's like, yeah, okay, I sold it, but the main thing is for the person to walk around with it on.
Exactly. Yeah.
If they buy something they don't fit in size wise, they're just stoked. Okay, I got it, but I'm not going to wear it.
Yeah. There's no point.
Yeah, unless your girlfriend bought it and she's making a dress out of it. Or
yeah.
Like that, which is
backpatch or something.
Like, there's a lot of women that are like buying like big. Like I was selling a ton of like 2XLs to like younger, smaller girls, and they were like redesigning them and everything.
That's it. Yeah.
So there was like a whole thing for that as well.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to weigh up how to do it. So
yeah.
Well, I better let you go because I know you got a busy schedule this morning.
Yeah, that's no problem. Actually, it's morning for you, but it's like afternoon. Well, late afternoon for me. But
yeah. Oh, it's way early morning here.
But wait, you're in the future, so I need all.
I know.
I need all the winning lottery numbers.
That's it. Yeah. Just tell me what you need. I'll send them, man. That's good. So we'll see you in July. We're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're excited as hell about it, man. It's been a while.
So
it's almost 10 years.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like that's good. Yeah. And there'll be really, really great shows. I'm based in Melbourne, so you always get a good response from our state as well. We proudly call ourselves the state, the metal state. So we're the we're proud of that. So there'll be great shows, man. Great tour. So look forward to seeing you then. So thanks for your time.
No problem. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Look forward to the next releases too. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, man. Take care. See you soon.
Thank you.
See you, brother.